big round of applause.
There'll be M&Ms up here if anybody wants any after presentation. But what if I took some of these M&Ms out, put them in my mouth, and put them back in the jar? How many of y'all want one? And you say I contaminated the jar, right? Well, the jar has already been contaminated because of the air that we breathe. And I'm going to start kind of the way I'm going to finish. In our business, with our technology, our biggest hurdle is nobody knows this technology is available, so nobody's looking for it. That technology is PCO, photocatalytic oxidation. I'm Tim Parker. I represent Asiet Air. We manufacture, market, and service PCO technology and air purification system. Photocatalytic oxidation is a combination of UV light and titanium dioxide. We've known for a long time that UV light is the #1 cleaning agent known to man. And our largest source of UV light is sunlight. And for some of us that are old enough, we can remember back in the day when our grandparents and our parents would take the mattresses out in the backyard and the blankets, and they would hang them and let the sun clean them. Well, we use that same UV light, but we also combine it with titanium dioxide. So what does that do? It doesn't just clean the air. What it does is it takes the air and turns it into a cleaning agent, so it cleans everything it touches. Bacteria, viruses, E. coli, Ebola. If it touches it, it sterilizes it, just like this machine. I could have taken those M&Ms out of my mouth, put that there, and in a few minutes we could all eat out of it at the floor. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. We did a test on E. coli with Dr. Zach out of Texas Tech. They took Petri dishes and put E. coli in the Petri dishes. They set the Petri dishes in front. All we did was blow the air onto the E. coli. It was monitored every 10 minutes. Within an hour, just by blowing the air onto the E. coli, we eliminated 99.99% of the E. coli. Okay? There's so many different applications that this is good for. I mean, different industries, anything from a gym to a hospital, animal shelters, anything between office buildings, just like this building here would be a great fit just because it takes all the germs, it takes everything out of the air, and it cleans the chairs, it cleans the carpet, it cleans the walls. This is our smallest unit. It would take care of this room in approximately 2 hours. Everything in here would be clean if we let this machine in here. Hospitals deal with a lot with the PCO, so we talked about it. We use the UV, we pull the air into the UV lamp, and then we pass it through the titanium dioxide reactor pads. And we do this through a series. I'm not going to get into the science with the OH radicals and all that, but in layman's terms, when the air comes out, it's not just clean air, but it is a cleaning agent somewhat comparable to hydrogen peroxide. So everything it touches, as I said, it cleans. And hospitals and nursing homes and medical facilities, they deal a lot with staph and MRSA. And I want to give you all a testimonial we had from a nursing home in Throckmorton. They had an outbreak of MRSA, and they had 4 patients that were infected with MRSA. They exhausted all of their resources to eliminate the MRSA, not just from the hospital, but from their patients. The only thing they did different is they put a machine in each one of the patients' rooms. In 6 days, there were no signs of MRSA in the building or the patients. One of the patients was diagnosed with toxic MRSA, which means that they didn't have long to live, and she showed no signs of MRSA. Okay, the industries, like I said, anything from animal shelters to hospitals, medical facilities, government buildings. In the Texas Panhandle, one of the things we have are a lot of old buildings, like at WT, downtown Amarillo. All these old buildings have mold. And mold is one of the easiest things for our technology to get rid of. It's easy to eliminate mold. We've had people take this machine and demo it in the bathroom because they had mold in their shower. They set the machine in front of their shower and the mold's gone the next day. So it actually eliminates it. Okay? So we're going over the MRSA. Well, the smallest particulate known to man, there was the Dr. Zach testimonial, or test, is odor. I mean, odor is huge, whether it's in an animal shelter, cigarette smoke, in smoking room, casinos, we can eliminate odor. And one of the testimonies that we do have on our website, which is just goodcleanair.com, there was a car dealer in Lubbock that he acquired like a Lincoln, and this is in Lubbock, Texas, so y'all keep that in mind. There had been a person die in that car, and that person remained in that car for 3 days in mid-August in Lubbock, Texas, so I don't need to tell y'all what it was like. They exhausted every resource extraction, ozone. This is a lot different than ozone. They put this machine in that car in 36 hours and removed 100% of the oil. Hospitals use HEPA filters. HEPA filters do not kill or eliminate, they trap. If you compare this to a HEPA filter would be like a volleyball net. It'll catch a volleyball, football, basketball, but it won't catch a softball, a baseball, a golf ball, a marble, or even a BB. This technology is 300 times more effective than HEPA filters. It is available for homes, it is available for offices, we can put it in your HVAC, we have portables, this is our smallest portable. We do rent leases. And so I'm gonna finish with kind of the way I started. Our biggest hurdle is nobody knows this technology is out there, so nobody's looking for it. So now, if anybody has any questions, we'll try to answer anything you wanna know.
So how are you getting that word out, advertising?
We have a website and we knock a lot of doors. We're already in several places like WT. We're in the president's office at WT. And we're in several of the office buildings at WT. Our biggest hurdle at WT is they have a contract with the SEC.
You manufacture this here?
And love it.
Oh, well, move up to Amarillo first of all.
Well, our warehouse is in Amarillo, not from Canaan.
Okay, how many, that's your smallest unit?
Yes.
How many of those did you place or sell in the last year? How many years you been in business?
We've actually, the owner has been toying with this for about 20 years. He developed, all right, let me back up and tell y'all something. This was developed in Japan. The titanium dioxide and the UV light, there's like 6,000 patents on it. But the owner of this company was at Sandia when they put together what they call the technosite, which is the way they treat the reactor pads with the titanium, the magic juice, if you will, that the reactor pads are treated with. So ours is more effective than anything that's on the market. And how many of these have we sold in the last year? Probably 500.
Okay, and how much are they?
This one is 1,850. This one will do 1,800 square feet.
Does it require maintenance?
It does. You take the bolts, the nuts out, you pull it out, you vacuum it out, it has some filters in there, you vacuum them out, put it back together, and if a light burns out, you can replace the light, the UV light.
So it doesn't cost you more for these maintenance-wise?
Just if you have to buy parts, if you have to buy a light.
Maintenance is very little.
And
So
how
maintenance
much is
very
your
small.
biggest unit and how big is it?
We have one unit that we just developed. It is a 7770. It will turn 2,000 cubic feet per minute. And it has 8 chambers, 8 UV lights, and 8 pads. And it's all about cubic feet per minute. I mean, because you have to turn the air 6 times. Once you've turned the air 6 times, you clean the air, okay? But after that, then the air becomes the cleaning agent and it starts cleaning everything that it touches. Yes, ma'am.
What studies have been done on the safety of long-term use for human lungs?
Well, since there's no ozone or no ionization, there's no side effects whatsoever. Ozone, there are side effects because ozone is bad for your lungs. All this is UV light and titanium dioxide reactor pads, so there's no ozone or ionization involved with this at all.
The bigger concern is when you work in an environment, a building, and it's hot, it's cold, it's wet perhaps, or there's, damage that's occurred, and no one really knows what's happening to you then. So in our case, we capture everything that's floating, everything that's airborne. We do in-home units, but we do commercial units. Our biggest customer is the Texas Department of Health. We can do induct units in an office building. We can focus on certain areas if needed, or throughout the whole building. Just depends on the nature of the business. Yes, sir.
What about good bacteria? Has any study been done on that?
On what?
On good bacteria that's in the air, to help with people's immune systems.
basically, it kills anything organic.
Yeah. So,
That may be,
that'd be my main concern.
right.
The only thing that we haven't been tested for, that we're hopefully be tested for in the near future, is a new superbug called Candida auris. The hospitals are really concerned about it because it's a new superbug. That's the only thing we haven't been tested for. On our website, you can go to applications and you can look at different pathogens and everything that we have been tested for that we can control and kill. And there's a list there that goes on and on. It's anything from staph, to viruses. Meat processing plants, I'll give you all an example. They go to great lengths to clean their equipment, right? But what they don't clean is the air, so when they get their equipment clean, they still have Listeria, they still have E. coli, still have Ebola in the air, and it settles on the equipment. So with this technology, you can clean the air, so when they clean their equipment, it stays clean. And the same would go for something as simple as like a surgical room, or birthing room, or an emergency room. They set all of their equipment out, and they've cleaned the equipment, but the air is still dirty. That's where we have problems with staff and stuff like that in our hospital. They clean their stuff. They clean their equipment, they clean their utensils, all that's clean, but the air's not clean.
Unfortunately, a lot of applications in hospitals or nursing homes or things, the air is circulated throughout the building, good or bad. So what we're there for is to make sure that the air that's circulated, we don't want to take air from, say, an infirmary, that someone is sick or several people are sick in that room, and it picks it up and carries it to the next room and the room after that, because you're just sharing the love throughout your building. So our job, the machine's job, is to capture that air, purify it, and then pour it back into the HVAC system.
After you install one, do you go back and, for instance, you put it in this room, we're all out of here, we're gonna kick up the dust on the carpet while we're in here. If it was allowed to run for 6 cycles, whatever time period that is, how do I test to make sure that what you say, that there aren't
Well, did
these
you
things
test
still
before?
in here?
Did you test before? Did you test before we brought the machine in?
Well, we would, yes, if
Okay.
it was a controlled, but, I mean, you certainly have a testing procedure for
We
after.
have companies that we hire to test that where testing is required, like real-time lab.
Right,
I mean, they do testing, but, we don't pay for the testing, no. But we have testing labs that we use, like in our medical facilities.
right.
When we go in and we say, but everything that we put on the website, we have been tested for. And so, we have testimonial after testimonial from individuals, with this is called the mini, 7700 mini. And then we go up to a 20, and then we have a 10. And, but they do their testing, like on the MRSA, for example. I just told you that. So they tested for the MRSA, and they found the MRSA. And just like on the E. coli, they were doing the test, they were monitoring it every 10 minutes. So they did their own testing.
Right.
So we're basing all of our facts on what we have paid for in the past to have tested. But if you want anything tested in the future, that will be at your expense. But we have companies we can set you up with, yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, it's just the idea of proving or showing.
Well, yeah, and that's a hard thing about doing what we do, because we're selling something we can't see. You're selling something nobody can see, but the effects of it, people notice it just as soon as, within days of when you install it. It's noticeable, just in the way,
Or sooner.
you feel, the way you breathe. I've got people that have had pneumonia and they cough and they hack. I put this in their bedroom, and 2 days later they call and say, man, I haven't coughed in all day. Yes, sir.
I've got a question on, have you guys explored any tax credits to be able to partner with either the CDC
Yes,
or the
yes.
EPA to be able to allow
Well,
the
as a matter-
scalability of it?
As a matter of fact, we're Choice Partner, we're a preferred vendor for Choice Partner. If anybody's heard of Choice Partners, okay, that's government and stuff like that. We have GSA contract to work with governments, but as far as tax credits, we have been told that you can get grants. We can underwrite grants for certain schools, because schools are a great fit for this, because for every student that's not in school that day, the school district loses money. And so the schools, and we have some schools down south, I don't have the names of all of them, but we have some schools down south, South Plains, that have applied for grants and got grants to help put this technology in the buildings. Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So So if you're on GSA, it sounds like you've got the government side mostly taken care of. Are you trying to get into the private money market, or where are you trying to grow into?
We're a good fit for any industry. I mean, right now, the largest industry that we're involved with is animal shelters. Because, number one, you have the odor, and if any of y'all ever been to the dog kennel, but not only do we get rid of the odor, but we get rid of the parvo, the kennel cough, we control all that. But what market do we want in? We're game. I mean, we'd love to get into the medical, we'd like to get into the, like the A&M system, school. We're in Katy ISD right now, we're in Oklahoma ISD. We're not in the whole school district, but in certain parts.
You're mentioning the surgical instruments, and the reason some hospitals may not be buying is because all they have to do is meet the government threshold and then they're check the box and safe. But if you can target private hospitals who are selling a premium service to
Yes.
clients,
Yes.
it seems like they would be interested in, because that's not much money for these folks.
Well, you take like Quail Creek Surgical Center, for
That's the
example.
one I was
Yeah,
talking
it would be very affordable, because what everybody looks at, when they look at the cost of something, I don't care if you're a surgical center, if you're a pig farm, or if you're meat processing, what they look at is ROI, return of investment. What are we getting for our money? It's value.
Do you know the owners, any of the doctors that own that place?
No,
Talk to me afterward.
thank you.
One thing, when you think about schools, that's one area that we are low on their totem pole. But if this is your classroom and 2 by 3 by 4 students are kept at home, there's a lot of young people in the room, and they say, oh, Johnny can't come to school, Janie can't come to school. When that enrollment drops, so does the school's income. So in our case, whether it's a portable unit, they're painting the room, they're hanging the AV things, they're stirring up a lot of contaminants, and again, that gets captured in the HVAC and shared all through the room, all through the school. So in our case, but if we can keep enrollment up, as a for instance, then the school system hits budget versus, we're down, or last year, several of the schools between here and Lubbock were closed 3 or 4 days, flu. Well, we can eliminate flu, and again, a lot of these machines are multi-purpose, because it doesn't matter if you're painting a room or if you've got a kind of a nursing center, because the child comes to the nursing center and then they go sit in the administrative office until grandma can come pick them up. And all the time they're hacking and coughing and sharing what it is they brought to school besides a good education.
Follow-up studies in the schools that you're in, that attendance has risen X% compared to last year without the system, and this percent, we're seeing a decrease in.
Yeah, most of them, they may tell us that over the phone, but sometimes they don't want to publicize something, because they'll say, well, we can't put it just on Asiet, it was because of this and because of that and whatnot. So sometimes they can tell us, oh, we're a big believer, but again, they're the ones, meeting those marks.
Right.
If you're targeting healthy, have you talked to any of the major health insurance companies?
No. Not yet. You had a question, sir?
I had 2. First is, do you have to replace those pads, or?
Eventually you will. They're $25 a piece to replace them. They'll last 2 to 5 years. The way you clean them is when you take them out, you get your vacuum or your shop vac, and you vacuum all the dust, which is sterile, if there's nothing wrong. You vacuum and you rotate them. And then, eventually you will have to replace them, and they're $25 a piece.
There's people that have a car wash thing in their window, and they wash their car. A friend of mine, every Monday his car is washed, So the pads are like that. Some people want to replace them really often, some people not so much. It depends on your environment, on how much. We had a lady in her office, and she had it was a little bit larger machine, but they had parked the machine between a Coke machine and a copier, and all that heat and all that air blowing back there. We went to service the machine, and the reactor pad was eaten away. So there's just some environments where you would want to change it more often.
So you can tell when it's losing effectiveness?
Yes, sir. Well, again, when the light bulb goes out, that's end of discussion there.
Yeah. And also, I was wondering have y'all thought about putting planes or anything?
Planes?
Yeah.
we've thought about it.
Yeah.
We've talked to a couple airlines. It's just one of those things with the airplane. I mean, they know it works, but then again, they look at the cost, how they're gonna do it. They can't set up a portable in the plane because, you know, it bounces around, so it's gonna have to be installed into their system. And yes, we could do that, but they just haven't sat down with us and thought about doing it. So we have to start somewhere. And like I said, we're in several places. And I'll tell you, one of the people that we're talking to is Senator Cruz's office about putting these in the detention centers because, you know, all the immigrants coming in, they're not vaccinated like we are. Their hygiene is not like we are. And, you know, they have all kinds of diseases and stuff that we don't even think about, like mumps, measles, because we've all, TB, and even leprosy, you know, so we have to think about that. And they're looking at this pretty hard, but, you know, detention centers are privately owned, or privately not owned, but they hire private people to run the detention centers. So there's a lot of nuts and bolts to that. But yes, we have looked at plans. Yes, sir.
So Jim, have y'all considered or have y'all looked at doing commercial or residential application for construction companies?
I'm sorry.
Have you looked at doing commercial or residential with construction companies?
Oh, yeah, we've talked to several engineers. We have a lady that builds custom barn doors, and we're looking at building the first barn door with this system in it, first hyperallergenic barn door in the state of Texas. And we're going to install this completely in the HVAC. We're working with her on that right now, and we're going to look at the cost of, you know, what it would add to the cost of the barn door. But it can actually be added to the HVAC of any system, where you go into the air handler and, or the return air, or both. You know, if you do both, you kind of create like a negative pressure. You're cleaning the air coming in, and you're cleaning the air going out as well, so the air going out, all your ductwork is clean as well. So, yeah, we can do a lot with it other than these boxes, but the portables right now seem to be the most popular. And we rent them. We have a lot of people that rent them to do a mold removal, if you will. You know, like I said earlier in the presentation, we have a lot of old buildings in Texas Panhandle, and every one of them have mold. Every one of them. Okay.
Mold's not something most people want to talk about.
No.
If you watch the news, they're finding mold in some of our military bases in the housing units. And it's when you find it, it's obvious. But it's the months and years that lead up to it before someone's willing to take a wall down and show you where because a small leak can cause mold, and then you start breathing what that's putting out into the air, you know, and then you move away, and years later you're wondering, gee, I wonder why I'm sick, wonder why I have COPD, wonder why I have asthma. Well, gee, could it have been where I lived back when? And there was that unfortunate leak in the garage that, you know, everybody thought we had taken care of. Maybe, maybe not.
Have y'all thought about, I know there's a lot of older schools in Amarillo, have y'all thought about offering that as a service to older buildings to
What do
come
you
in
mean,
and
service?
eradicate mold and stuff?
We've met with AISD. We met with a lot of the people in the Amarillo area, the Lubbock area. We're even planning on a meeting with CISD on some of the new schools that they're building. Electrical and mechanical engineers, we visited with a lot of them, and we have not visited with one of the engineers that said, no, every one of them said, we need that. We need that in every system that we install. And we even had a guy say, if you could see the air conditioning systems in a hospital, you would not go in a hospital because of how filthy they are. And that's like, back to what I said earlier, the staff and the Mercer, everything that the hospitals have to deal with, their stuff in there is clean. Their beds, their tools, but their air's not clean.
The hard part with mold and some other, you know, like the mold in particular, if the facility manager or the property manager, this is, you know, a nice new building we're in here, but if the building owner is not willing to take the steps to eradicate the mold, then it would likely continue or will start somewhere else. And it's like going to the gym and then getting up the next morning and going to work and never taking a shower. Well, your clothes are clean, but you're not. So we can clean the walls, so to speak, we can clean the air, but there's still a problem behind that wall or in that plenum. So sometimes you just have to take that extra step.
Are you saying the walls will not show this at all?
No,
If
sir.
if there's mold in the room and you keep it going, then I can see it to start with, at the end of it, it's gone?
No, that's not what we're saying.
Okay,
We're
so
saying
it's-
we can eradicate the growth of the mold, we can stop the growth, but the main thing is we're stopping is what's floating through the air. But that's what we're saying is that if there's mold in your walls,
right,
we still say it needs to be.
it's still physically there.
Correct,
Right.
correct, and you're
But
still
you
enjoying
can- But
that.
like when you do the mold removal, when you remove, my brother's in the construction business in Houston, so they have a flood down there, so what they have to do is they tear the sheetrock off. Well, they bring in these big air scrubbers, which are basically just fans and maybe some ozone. This technology does it in 1/3 of the time, and it doesn't just dry it out, it eradicates the mold, once it can get to the mold. Does that make sense?
Right.
If we can get to the mold through the wall, yes, we can eradicate it. Yes,
So who are your competitors?
we don't have any. No, that's not true. That's not
Procrastination.
true. All right, so you can go to Amazon and you can find something for your house with PCO technology, but then once you get to researching it, it's some little, it looks like a little lamp that looks really good sitting on your mantle or your coffee table, but the maintenance on that little thing, and it will only do like 400 or 500 square feet. So yeah, they have PCO. Train actually has a system that they can put in the HVAC. But if you look at what they have for the reactor pads, if you do the research, the reactor pads have to be changed every 3 months. And the reactor pads are expensive.
And are you really focusing in on one market segment to try to really, where you see the best opportunity, or are you just trying to cast a wide net and see where you gain traction?
We're trying to cast the wide net because we think we're a fit for many industries. I mean, like I talked about the animal shelters, gymnasiums. One of the ones that we've recently discovered is hog farms. Because, hog farms, a sow, farrowing house is nothing but a negative pressure room. That's all it is. And if we could reduce their death loss in the farrowing house by 50%, we've been told we would be a safety. You know what the 2 top things in that farrowing house, other than the 3 top things, is bacteria, viruses, and mama laying on the pigs and killing the pigs. We can't do anything about the 3rd one, but we can eliminate bacteria and viruses. So, I mean, we're just looking for anything, yes.
But as far as marketing is concerned, it's just word of mouth and knocking on doors?
Word of mouth,
Our website is our.
website,
our
and
biggest
us
tool.
knocking doors.
'Cause we do business nationwide, so we may not be able to help somebody in Arkansas, because we're not physically in Arkansas. But a unfortunate phrase we're learning now, especially in the Houston area, is shelter in place, okay? Which means the refinery's on fire and there's a toxic smoke traveling through the air, and depending on which way the wind's blowing, it could be east or west or north or south. But shelter in place means close the doors, lock the windows, and don't take a big breath of air if you can avoid it. So with our technology in your home or in your business, when that toxic plume of who knows what comes rolling over your house, you're the one that's still breathing comfortably and not worried about, uh-oh, what have I done? Because I bought the house too close to the refinery, and guess what's on fire?
So you said that this unit is your smallest unit,
Yes.
and it's around, what, $1,800, you said?
1850, and then we'll take care of
Have you thought
18.
about bringing that price down? And ways of bringing that price down for the home consumers to be able to use something in their home? Because I can't afford to spend $1,800 on one little thing.
I'm sorry, you can't
I
afford.
can't afford to purchase that unit right now.
Okay.
So is that something that's on your radar? to
We
bring
have
the
talked
price down?
about maybe doing an installment plan, like a quarterly installment plan. We have to have somebody to set it up to make it legal. It's something we are looking into, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Piggybacking off of that, have you looked into what you might have to do to get it approved for using FSA funds, if that's even possible?
A proof of what kind of funds?
FSA funds, like at WT, I can put money in account for healthcare purposes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for
Spread it out.
flexible spending accounts?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's It's a good idea.
Okay, I am so sorry, guys. I know there's lots of really good questions. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So I assume that you guys could maybe stick around.
Yeah,
for
we'll
a
stick
little bit
around if we didn't
if
answer
you
all
have
your
more
questions.
questions. But thank you all so much for being here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. Oh, and one last question. How can we as a community help you?
See,
Because
I've been
I didn't
prepared
get
for
to do
that
that.
question. I've been prepared for that question, okay, and I want to answer it.
Thank
So
you.
we've been told by many people that we're the biggest secret, best secret in the world. We don't want to be the best secret in the world. We want people to know what we do. Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Well, thank you so much. Brian, if you want to start passing out pins, please make sure you fill out the survey before you leave.